Hey guys, sorry I'm not there today. Definitely wish I was, since you guys have a whole day to review. If you haven't done so already, please make sure you write down your homework for tonight, your homework in your agenda. That's going to be just to study, because your test is on Monday. Remember, it's everything on the dark green packet, so anything in there is fair game on bonding, acids and bases, and definitely this balancing stuff can be kind of complicated. So that's why I made this video. I wanted to step you guys through how to solve those 3 bell ringer questions. So your sub probably had the bell ringer questions. So we're looking at the agenda here. They should have had the bell ringer balancing chemical equations up on the board. Next on the agenda is to check your bell ringer with this video. So let's go ahead and solve those 3 problems together. Now what's good with the video is you can always pause it, try it on your own, rewind it if it didn't make sense, things like that. So some tips when you're solving these chemical equations when you are balancing them. So let me write it as neat as I can here. You want to leave a space for your coefficient. That's the number that you're going to be changing and filling in as you go. So leave a nice space for that coefficient, and I want to copy down the problem. K2O plus, leave room for your coefficient. H2O yields, that's that arrow, yields KOH. Try to be as neat and organized as you can. So the first thing I want to do after I write that down is count up how many atoms of each element I have on both sides. So on my reactants, how many elements do I have? On my products, how many elements do I have? So I have the elements potassium, oxygen, and hydrogen. So write that down as you're checking your bell ringer question. You're writing this down with me. The 3 elements that are present in this equation, write them right underneath that yield sign. And on the left-hand side, we have our reactants. So we want to count how many potassium we have on just our reactant side. We have a 2 subscript here attached to our potassium. So that tells us that we have 2 potassium. For oxygen, we do have 1 over here, but we have plus the 1 over here. So 1 plus 1 is going to give us 2 oxygen. And for our hydrogen, since we have that subscript attached, it would be 2 hydrogens as well. So 2 all the way down. On the right-hand side, we have our products, and we want to count how many we have of each of our products. So for potassium, there's no subscript attached to any of these. So that's going to give us just 1 potassium, 1 oxygen, and 1 hydrogen. All right, now what we want to do is add in our coefficients. So we have 2 all on the reactants and only 1 on the product. So just by adding a coefficient here, so start with a number, start with low numbers. Don't start just plugging in high numbers, but think to yourself, what can I add in this spot that's going to bring these numbers up to 2 because we want them to match the other side. So if I put a 2 coefficient here, this 2 is going to distribute to every element next to it. Okay, so now we have 2 potassium, so let's cross that off. Now we have 2 potassium. We have 2 oxygen, and we also have 2 hydrogen. So that's it. That one was kind of simple. Just by adding in that 1 coefficient, we have balanced the whole thing. So it's kind of like a game. You want to make sure that for potassium, if we have 2 to start with, we have 2 to end with. For oxygen, if we have 2 to start with, we have 2 to end with. So these are all balanced. Now these here, you can definitely leave blank. We don't have to put a number in there. If you want to put a number in there, kind of as a placeholder, don't put a 0, put a 1. 1 is not going to change anything at all. So we have 1, 1, and 2. That's going to be our answer. Good, so let's go on to the next one. Let me clear this off. Sorry, it feels like I'm losing my voice a little bit. All right, so for the next one, for number 2, let's write down our problem. So we have CH4 plus O2 yields CO2 plus H2O. Okay, I'm going to go a little bit quicker this time. So we have all the elements we have, carbon, hydrogen, oxygen. Those are all the elements we have in this equation. On the left-hand side, that's our reactants. So how many total carbon do we have on our reactants? We have just 1. There's no subscript attached to it. Hydrogen, we have 4. Oxygen, we have 2. All right, and on the product side, we have just 1 carbon. Oxygen, we have 2 here, but we also have plus the 1 over here. So 2 plus 1 is going to give us 3 oxygen. And how many hydrogen do we have? We have 2. Okay, our carbon is already balanced because we have 1 and 1. Hydrogen and oxygen are not. Okay, so I'm going to go over here where I have hydrogen and oxygen attached together. And I'm going to add a coefficient out front. Let's try a 2. See what that does. So now we have 2 coefficient times, because you multiply them together, times the 2 subscript gives us 4 hydrogen. So now I have 4. And for my oxygen, I have just 2. Nope. Don't forget. So 2 oxygen plus, I also have that 2 over here, right? So 2 oxygen plus 2 oxygen. So we have 4 oxygen. All right, so we balanced our hydrogen. Our oxygen is still not balanced. So what can I add in this coefficient spot to get this oxygen on the reactant side equal our product? So we want to make this number 4. Okay, let's put a 4. Nope, not put a 4. Put a 2, right? Because now we have 2 times the 2 subscript. Now we have 4 oxygen on our reactant side. So that's going to balance us. And I like those placeholders. I like to put 1s in the places that we had blank. So we have 1, 2, 1, 2. That's going to be our answer there. Okay, and the last one. Okay, so for number 3, our last balancing a chemical equation. This would be a good time if you think you're feeling pretty good about balancing chemical equations. You might want to pause the video and then try it on your own. Then start playing it again and see if you got it right. So I'm going to copy it down. I have a line for the coefficient, Al plus O2 yields our products of Al 2O3. All right, let's write down we only have 2 elements here in this equation. We have aluminum and we have oxygen. On the reactant side, I have 1 aluminum and I have 2 oxygen. On the product side, I have 2 aluminum and I have 3 oxygen. All right, so let's add, what do I want to do here? Okay, I'm going to try, because I see I have a 2 and a 3. Maybe I can bump both of these up to a 6. Let's see. Whoops, didn't mean to do that. Maybe I can bump them both up to a 6. So if I add on the reactant side, if I add a 3 here, let's just try this out. If I add a 3, now I have 3 times 2. That's going to give us 6 oxygen on this side. Let's see if I can get 6 oxygen on the other side. Okay, so I have 3 attached. So if I put a 2 out front, a 2 coefficient, that will give me the 6 that I want. So I have 2 times the 3. That's going to give me 6 oxygen, but it also changed how many aluminum I have. So I have 2 times 2. That's going to give me 4 aluminum. Okay, so my oxygen is balanced. Aluminum, I have 4 and 1. So let's go back to the reactant side. If I put a 4 out front in that coefficient, I now have 4 aluminum. There we go. So that balanced this equation. So for our answer, we have 4, 3, and 2. All right, so now that we have done all 3 of our bell ringer questions, let's go back to our agenda. And, okay, so we did our bell ringer, we checked our bell ringer. check your study guide with the answer key below. So I don't normally post the answer key to the study guide. You normally have to check that in resource, but because I'm out today, I do have the study guide answer key right here. So please make sure you check your answers, and if you get stuck on anything, something doesn't make sense, make sure you email me or come see me at some point on Friday or even Monday to make sure that we go over that stuff together. Oops. Alright, so once you check that, the last thing you have to do for today would be your snowman balancing practice. So what the snowman balancing practice is, I'll give you a quick example. Let me draw it out. Alright, so what your snowman balancing is, you are going to use the templates up front and some white printer paper, and you're going to cut out a circle for the head, a circle for the body, and a larger circle for the bottom part. And in each one, you're going to go up to the little cardboard box thing up front on the front bench and pick out 3 different tiny snowmen cutouts. And on the back of those, there's a chemical equation that you need to balance. So if you pick out one that says it's number 4, you're going to write the number on there and you're going to solve the equation. You're going to do the same thing, different question. You're going to do a different snowman chemical equation. So this time you pick out 31. You're going to solve that equation. And then same thing, whatever number you pick, you're going to solve that equation, show all your work on that part. I have an example up front, and I also have a bunch of examples stapled outside in the hallway. Maybe you saw those already. So that's how you're going to practice some more balancing equations. Once you finish that, you're going to turn that into the basket. The substitute does have the answers, so if you want to check the answers with the substitute before you turn them in and make sure you're on the right track, definitely go ahead and check that with the substitute. Okay, when you're done, get that turned into the basket. And where are we? So snowman practice, turn your completed snowman in when you're done. And if you are done with the snowman and you have extra time before the bell rings, I have all these games, review games available for you to access. So I tell you how to log in. Just click on the links here, and we have pH scale, we have acid base, we have more balancing practice if you're having trouble with balancing. This one's balancing as well. So go ahead and kind of play around with those just to get a little more review. Oh, don't let me forget, if you get a chance, maybe not in class, but when you get home, really awesome songs. Mr. Edmund one, this one's not so great for the this unit on bonding, but I really like the Mr. Parr one, so maybe you'll go ahead and listen to that one. And that's it. Hopefully you guys were really productive today. You were super polite. And I will see you, if not tomorrow, I'll definitely see you on Monday for your test. So have a good weekend, and I'll see you soon.